All right, sorry I got interrupted, so let's continue with this. We're in QGIS, and I just did the Solar Cities project area. I put in a polygon here for Doug's farm. Now I need to put one in for Christoph's farm. So that's the shapefile that I created. I'm going to open the attribute table here, and it doesn't have anything in it. So I've got to edit this and oh, I did. It's ID, name, and assets, but there's no information in it yet. Okay, so we're going to create the polygon for it once again by going to the polygon tool, because this has a pencil in it, meaning it's being edited. That came from, if I turn that off, or can I turn that off? There it is. It came from this pencil tool here. When I click on this, you see it appear in the box there. That means you're editing the shapefile. The shapefile is a container right now with an empty attribute table. So now that I have it editing enabled, I go to the polygon tool and I select here, 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 down the hill, down past his swimming pool and the area where we played ball tag with the kids, and there. Right click and give it a feature. The ID is going to be ID it is 2, and then I'll say Christoph's farm, which is the Ferme de la Vaux actually, and that comes in there, and then I can go to properties and change the color if I like, and change the opacity, and go to labels and put in single labels based on the name, and change the aspect of it. I'm going to keep the size at 10 and say OK. And there it is. So there's Christoph's farm. And there's Doug's farm in the whole project area. Now, at Doug's farm, we were building biodigesters, and we know where we built them. We built them right against the wall of the farmhouse where the Ukrainian refugee family is staying. So we're going to add another shapefile for this. So go here. This is going to be called Sustainability Assets. And the geometry type here is going to be point. And it's going to have a name field and add that to the field list, and then an assets number field, and then let's also add a builder field for who built it. Make that a text string. All right, so we've got that there, sustainability assets, and we will put in this, when we toggle editing, it then shows us points here, point feature, because that's the kind that it is. And so we know that we have a digester there, so ID 1, and it is the Solar Cities main tank, IBC tank, and then the number of assets, builder is Culhane, Savari, and we will put there the number of assets is 1. Okay, that puts the dot there. Then we're going to place another one down here, and we're going to make that ID feature 2, and the name is going to be Solar Cities Gas Holder, and the number of assets is 1, and the builder is Culhane Savari. All right, so those, oh, and the position isn't perfect on that. So I think if I want to go to edit it, how would I do that? If I grab it, No, that just creates a new one, which I do not want to do. I do want to edit that. So save the layer. But when you go to edit the layer, how do you do it? So you have vertex tool for the current layer. Right click on an editable feature to show its table of vertices. So there it is. That's the table. So I'm going to move it, if it'll let me. Double click on it. Huh. So you should be able to move these. And that I'm having trouble doing. Ah, there we go. So you click on it, or double click on it, or right click to fix it, double click on it, and then you move it. It doesn't move, it doesn't drag, so you kind of have to move it, yeah, where you want it. There we go. That's how you move it. It's kind of kludgy, isn't it? Because you click on it and then you take it like, oh, I'm moving it there. This one, you click on it and you put it next to it there. And that's how you edit their placements. Okay, so you can see when we look at the attribute table that now we have got Solar City's main IBC tank. And if we click on that, it highlights over here. Or we click on this one, and that's the Solar City's gas holder to the right of it. And it tells you the builder, it tells the number of that we have. So we're creating that data table. There's another thing we can add to sustainability assets as we go to our project area. If we move over to out of Doug's farm and down to Christoph's farm, we know that at Christoph's farm there is a solar panel. And so it's somewhere here. So we're back in sustainability assets. We are on points, and we can add that as a point. Call it ID3 and call it 30 kilowatt. Is that what it is? Or is it 3 kilowatt? 30 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt. I think it's 3 kilowatt. 3 kilowatt solar array. And the assets number is 1, and the builder is Christoph. And okay, so that dot appears there. Once again, if we had to edit it, we would come in here and we would name, actually I should have not been editing that. It's this. I'm hoping the attribute table, I didn't screw that up. Oh, I did screw it up maybe, because if I go to the Christoph's farm attribute table, Christoph's farm is in there. So where did I just put this dot? That's the question. I had this, I shouldn't have been editing that. So this asset, when we edit it and go to the feature editing tool, which is here, vertex tool current layer, when we go to there, we can of course move it, but how do we find out the data on it? Right click on it, and there it is. But it doesn't say much. So maybe I just confused myself and maybe I should just delete this. Can I delete it? That'd be interesting to know. I don't know how you delete something like that feature. We're in here, vertex tool, trash what? One of the selectors outside the current map view, would you still delete one feature? I don't know what I just deleted. In Doug's farm, we still have, did I end up deleting one of those? Looks like I did. If I undo it, there it is. Okay, so I made a mistake deleting that. I'm not really sure how I deal with this one here. I know I can move it, but I don't know how I can get to that. Like, where is that information held? Unclick it, it goes away, so it's obviously on that layer. If I save it by unediting, I save the changes, well, it's there somewhere. And if I go to the attribute table, oh, there it is, it appeared. Very strange. All right, so I've got these features in there. I wonder, yeah, I'll have to learn more about how to remove things, but there it is in the table. And what I'm going to do now is get all this stuff into Blender GIS. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make a shapefile out of the Solar Cities project area. So I'm going to right click, open the attribute table, and select it where the number is so that it turns yellow. Having that selected, and only that right now, what I'll do, show all features, show all features, show selected features, show all features, okay. What I'm going to do here is now then right click on the project area, and I'm going to export save feature as, or save selected features as, an SRE shape file. That's what I'm going to use. The file name is going to be SC project area France. The layer name, where's I going to save it? I'm going to save it in documents here. All right. It's asking me again. SC project area France. All right. So that's what's going to be saved in there. The layer name isn't relevant. CRS is important. That's the WGS84. Encoding, I'm saving only the selected features, and I don't want to save it to the map because I've already got it on the map. And I think that's all I need to do. I'm going to do the same thing now with Douglas's farm, or Doug's land. I'm going to open the attribute table, select it so that it appears yellow. I have to deselect, I guess, the Solar Cities project area. Can I deselect it? Well, it won't let me deselect it. There we go. I'm doing it like that. All right, so now I've got just Doug's farm selected, and I'm going to export that. Save features as, it's going to be just the file name is going to be Dougland, and it's not letting me save only selected features, maybe because I don't know why. But okay, let's see what that does. Resize, yes. Override the type of shapefile. What this does. Resize fields to their optimum size. Well, whatever. What does this do? Don't know. So it'll do all the fields that I have, which is fine. And I'll do that. Ooh, that was not good. That's not good at all. So let me Control Z this. I did something wrong here. And Control Z has no function in this. So I'm going to have to remove this. I do not like that aspect of this program. Anyway, what I wanted was only Doug's land, because that's what I'm looking for. I don't want any of the others. Just that. You would think because I'm on this only, and I've opened the attribute table, if I select it, then I should be able to export just that. Save selected features as. Now let's try that as Doug's Land. Doug's Land. Doug Land. Well, we have several Doug Lands, but the one from today is this one here. So let's resave that and don't add it to the map. Say OK. Overwrite the file, yes. All right, so that worked out. So now we're going to do the Christoph's farm. Open up the attribute table. Click on it. And then we will right-click and export that. And call it Christoph Land. And about that, I'm going to resize and then say OK. And the final thing we're going to export out are our sustainability assets. And there's obviously one there, and there's two up here that you can see. So those are going to be there, and they are going to be open the attribute table, select all three of them, so maybe shift select. There we go. Now all three of them light up in yellow, and we will export them. Selected features as. Call this file name Sustainability Assets, and save only selected features. Since I've been resizing everything, I'll say yes for that, and it has to be in the same folder, so it is. So assets. Okay. And save it. Oh, what did that do? I don't know. I thought, see, you're supposed to open it up and then say Sustainability Assets and then save it. All right. Now, cannot overwrite an OGR layer in place. So what does that mean? I'm just going to give it a new name then. Export, save features as, save only selected features. My battery's running low. I need to go plug in. Hold on. Let me plug in here really quickly. And, all right, so this is Sustainability Assets 2, I'll call it. And, see, it's weird. Sustainability Assets 2. And I'll save that, and then I will say OK. All right, so now I go into Blender. Now, let's go from a new file to take it from scratch to show you how we are going to do this. I'm not even going to deal with that. I'm going to get rid of that. So new file, general. I'm not going to save my old file. All right, first thing I'll do is delete the cube, delete the camera, and delete the light. And now I'm going to GIS, and I'm going to Web Geo Data, and I'm going to base map. And I'll start with a Google satellite, and I will make sure that to the CIS, it doesn't let me change that. So I start with a satellite. I'll come in here, there's my satellite. Now I hit G, and I type in DO, and I go to zoom level and make it up to like 19, say OK, and let it calculate. And now we're somewhere near DO. And now we've got to eyeball this, and whoa, I think it came out too big. Oh, now it's going to be hard to find. So let's see again, if we go to DO and bring the zoom level down a bit, see how we end up here. Okay. So the problem with doing it with the satellite map, as you can see, is there's no legends. You got to really know the area. So what do? Go to Blender GIS, forget about this, hit escape. Go to Blender GIS, go to Web Geo Data, do OSM first. No, not OSM, I'm sorry. Go to base map and then do map first. And then from there, you can change the web Mercator to lat lon, WGS, because that's what we want to use. And then you can say OK. And it didn't do anything. All right, let's try this again. Base map, go to map, and we won't do any scene georeferencing right now. We'll just go to here. And I don't know. Now let's try to go to DO. All right, there we are. So now that we've got, oh nice. Now that we've got DO, you can see DO down there, and you can zoom in, and we know that it's in Laveau, and there's La Ferme de Laveau, so that's where Christophe's place is. So now what you do is zoom kind of in. We know that you go down the hill, and there's Douglas's house right there. So we hit E to get an extrusion, and we get that part. Now you go in and do the base map again, but do it as a satellite, and say OK. And you will see the satellite should be underneath it. Googleite map and the satellite map. So hit escape there too, and then the satellite, came in underneath it. So the Google map is there, the satellite map is there, and now we don't have to use that map. We can use this map alone because we know our areas. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this landscape and click on it. We're looking down in number 7, top orthographic. We go GIS and we import the, Web Geo Data. We import the OpenStreetMap, no, the elevation first. So let's open up the elevation, because that's going to put in the hills that are needed there. And it comes in, and now it's got hills, which is good. All right, now that we have the hills, we need to make sure that those hills are applied, because they're actually modifiers. They're digital elevation map modifiers. So we need to come here and apply it, and now that shape is baked into there, which is good. Now we have to get the OpenStreetMap information, get the buildings and the highways if we want the railways and the waterways. I'm not sure we need the waterways. So I'm clicking on those, And I'm going to make them separate objects. Make the height a little bit lower because it always comes in way too high. And say OK. And it came in, but it came in all wrong. Don't know why. It did put the roads in. So let me try this again.
That's from Blender now?
Yeah, it's in Blender. Let me try this again. So the get OSM. Let me just try the buildings. Buildings extrusion, get the elevation from the object. And the object is the SAT. That's it, the SAT image. That's what we want it from. All right. I probably can use the get the highway as well. And building extrusions lower, but I do need elevation from object and separate the objects. But it gave me a bad, it did the roads, but it didn't do me the buildings, and usually it does. One more time, I'm not sure what's going on, why it's wrong. I'm going to go to building, elevations from there. I won't do separate objects. I'm just going to try to get the building. It says object cannot be interpreted as an integer. It's funny because it's worked before pretty darn well. Let me see what happens if I try a different map. If I try the Google map. Nope. Huh. I'm going to try this again. In fact, what I'm going to do too is I'm going to close QGIS just in case there's some issue, some memory issue or something. And that, all right. And I'll start Blender again too. So let me try this again. Here, Blender. Sure is taking its sweet time in it. All right, so select everything and delete everything. I will go into my top view. I'll go to GIS. I will go to the base map. I will start with a map. And I will say OK. I have my map there. I'll hit G. I'll type in Geo. Bring my zoom level in. I'll go to there. And I see that I am somewhere near Geo. There's Paray-le-Monial. There's Geo right there. I'll come in again, and there's Laveau. Keep coming in, there's La Ferme de Laveau, so that's where I want to go. With this, I will hit E, and I will capture that area. I will now, that's called Google Map. I'll call this street map. All right, so there's that. I don't know what the Google Map was. Okay. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get another base map, and this time it's going to be satellite, and I'm going to say OK, and that's the sat map, and I'm going to go to G and type in Geo and say OK, and there it is, that's Geo. But now I have to find my way. If I turn, oh, I can't turn that off. So how am I going to find it? Oh, there it is, because that map is already there. All right, so once again, I'm going to go like that, hit E. Oops, on the satellite map, if it'll let me. There we go. And that's been exported. And then my street map was there. And as you can see, there's the Ferme de Lavaux. And there, in fact, is the Ferme de Lavaux right there. All right, so now that I have that region selected, and I know where the Ferme de Lavaux is, I go to the elevation, and I pull that in, and it takes its sweet time. Oh, and I think I know what I did wrong. I should not have applied the digital elevation map. So there it is with the contours. All right. So now that I have done that, now I can come in and bring in the Web Geo Data, the OSM, and put in the buildings and the highways. Get the elevation from the object, which is the SAT map, and separate the objects and bring down the default height. And let's see what this does. Okay, it's still threw me. It gave me the roads, but it did not give me any buildings. And that is confusing to me because it was working earlier. Roads, elevation, building, extrusion. Just pull them in. Did it pull them in? Did not pull them in.
Can you repeat? I have a question.
No. Not yet.
I have a question here.
You got a question?
Yeah,
but I can't right now. As soon as I finish making this procedure work. Well, it should work. Elevation of the object from the object. So we do need that. If I don't do the elevation from the object, it'll come in wrong. But it's not bringing in the buildings. Well, that's not going to affect our shape file thing. We'll have to figure that out. So now let's see what happens when we bring in the shape file. So if we go to GIS import shape file, and we look in our documents there, we have the Christoph land and Doug's land. So let's bring in Doug's land shape. It was in the CRS has got to be done as Latlon, and we want to extrude from the field the name and separate. Oh, we don't need to extrude. We're doing the object name from field. Okay, let's see what that does. And there it is. Look at that. It's come in right above it. All right, let's bring in, it says Doug's Farm right there. So that's good. That came in right. It's a little awkward when we try to move around, probably because it hasn't been applied all yet. But let's try then bringing in the other shape file. Let's go GIS, import shape file. Let's find Christoph's land, import that shape file, separate the objects, and get the object name from the field from the name, and specify this as Web 84. And say OK. And there it is. Okay, so that one's good too. So we've got that one and we've got that one. And then we want to bring in our sustainability assets. So we go import shapefile and bring in our sustainability assets too. Import. Once again, separate the objects, get the object name from the name field, and specify the CRS as WGS 84. So, okay, and there they are. So, wait a minute. Whoa. So, when you zoom in, ooh, I can't, it's so weird. I can't move around the map easily. But if I zoom into those, like the 3 kW solar array, if I go to top view, if I go to Doug's land, Doug's farm, shows up there. So what's going on? Why is it, it's right down, way down there. So it didn't pick up any of its information relative to the actual map. So I've got to go G, Z and pull it up. And the same thing with Christoph's farm. I got to go there and go G, Z and lift it up until it is right on the landscape, right? Yeah, it was underground. And then come here, and then now it works better. Okay, so because it was underground. Same thing with the sustainability assets. I gotta go G, Z, and whoa, didn't do it. The solar array, G, Z, lift it up. So it's at the right part of the field, and the gas holder and the main tech, GZ. Oops, I gotta raise them up. Right. And so theoretically, if this worked out right, then when we, yeah, they're right by the house where they need to be. And what's cool is when you click on each one of them, it tells you which is the gas holder and which is the main tank. That's going to give us a placeholder to put all this in. And there's Doug's little farm there. And we can, of course, change now in here the opacity using materials, making a new material here, and making that material a certain color. And then we have the ability to change its alpha. Why is that not showing up? Oh, blend mode. Should be alpha clip. There we go. And then make the alpha stronger. It's not perfect, is it? Should it be alpha clip or should it be alpha blend? It should be alpha, yeah, that's alpha blend. All right. So now we can bring it down a bit in strength.
Go away, Finn.
Yeah, so you have the ability now to make your landscape work like that with those objects. So that's what we're going to do for now, and then we'll get back into how to start adding the actual IBC tanks and solar arrays into the landscape. Not sure about the buildings and why they're not coming in, because usually they do.